So we have been discussing about the problem origin of consciousness, right? And our the line of thought which we are pursuing is consciousness is something eternal, which means that uh, you know which means that tracing the origin of life essentially means that proving the existence of consciousness as an eternal entity, right? And our point of starting was that we started to look at our brain, particularly the activities of neurons. And why we have started from there? Oh, all right, of course. Some of the major research in neuroscience indicates that whenever we kind of display some of the symptom of consciousness which seemingly kind of which are accepted, let's say working symptoms, which we call the, let's say, willing feelings, or let's say the symptom of happiness, or for that matter to able to recognize things, or let's say cognizance or cognitive capabilities, or for that matter experiencing something, right? Experience of different sort, sort of different sort of experience, different sort of experience that uh, so there, because all these things particularly seems to manifest in the neural activity, so therefore many people have started thinking that probably brain is the source of consciousness. So therefore we started arguing. So but these are of course philosophical argument, right? And this philosophical argument would essentially help us in identifying some of the problems, probably the scientific problem which need to investigate further. So that therefore we have started from the brain, and through the different set of arguments we came to, of course in between there are many things which probably we have kind of skipped, in the sense we have just very briefly talked about when we started trying back the origin. So it is like a it is like a back tracing, right? So it is like a reverse engineering, so which means that all right, something is appearing here, then using the cause and effect kind of a principle, we try to go back, right? If you see the effect, then you try to go back that what is the cause of it. And then in terms the cause which we have traced back for the event becomes the event person. So then we say that what is the cause of that event, so then what is the cause of that, what is the cause of that. So this is what, and in that process we have came to this understanding that all right, the laws of thermodynamics states that in a closed system, right, in a closed systems the energy remains the same, or that remains the constant, right? So which means that energy remains the constant, and therefore the principle of energy neither be created nor be destroyed essentially hints at that all its existence is eternal, which means that it has, there is no point of time when something has been created out there, or something could be destroyed in the future. So it is basically eternal exist. So the question comes that now how do you trace the evidence that energy gives rise to the matter? So when you talk about the matter, so we are okay, of course the people like me are not an expert in physics, but however we can learn things, right? We can learn things, and we can start to argue that is there any way that we can demonstrate that energy gives rise to matter. So when you talk about the matter, so certainly there could be many varieties of matters. The gross matter which we consider as a matter essentially has one unique property which is called the mass, right? So but apart from the the kind of matter that we are looking for, there could be many others, the others with respect to this consciousness, right? How do you explain the emergence of experience, right, from that energy? So of course there is another theory which talks about, as we have been discussing, that the consciousness might be an emergent property, right? So therefore but we are saying that it is not, right? It is not that the consciousness is emergent property, but it is an eternal property, and which manifests through actually the neurons or the human brain in order to enable a human being to interact with external nature, right? So that is what is our argument. So now we have come to this point that energy is, let's say, eternal. If the energy is eternal, so there must be some way the energy must be giving rise to matter, right? So that is the one sort of experiment. So here we would like to bring in, we would like to kind of explain, or let's say we try to understand the alternative viewpoints or the alternative thoughts which is being offered in Vedic literature, which also talks about the energy, right? Which also talks about the energy, or the energy of the supreme Lord, or the Supreme Lord, energy of the Supreme Lord. And it has, there are there are concept of, the there are concept of spiritual energy, and there is a concept of material energy. And out of those spiritual energy, we call it the internal potency, and there are the kind of marginal potency, and there are the inferior potencies, right? So these are the different kind of energy that have been discussed in the Vedic scripture. However, in the modern science, we need to investigate and figure it out. Is there a varieties or variegatedness in energy itself, right? Which you're talking about. And if the energy is existing in eternity, I mean, without it has been existing, so then in what form, let's say, like it is existing in what form, whether energy can have any form for that matter or not, right? So that is the something that we need to, that we have to investigate in the next, right? But however, we will little, maybe we may not pursue that direction being a non-expert. However, we would like to talk about the nature of consciousness in some other point. And also, but of course we also we will also investigate the origin of consciousness from different perspective, the perspective that has been given in the Vedic literature, particularly in the Bhagavad Gita. And that perspective is the perspective of, personal entity. So that's what we are talking about, the personal entity which gives rise to the consciousness, right? And that personal entity, what we are mentioning, is basically called as the Jivatma, or living entity. So that is what is our point. And one of its property, like one of its kind of fundamental nature of that Jivatma is basically this is consciousness, right? So this is what is our main driving point, and this is what we will be trying to prove. We will be trying to prove that philosophically, and of course we'll try to formulate some of the interesting problems, solving which probably we can able to solve, or let's say it gives us certain hints and how to explain the nature and origin of consciousness, right? Maybe we need a new science to explain the nature and origin of consciousness.